Hello, we are ready to start a new unit this week. It is Unit 5. Oop, went too far, got too excited. Um, March 9 through 22nd. Wow. Okay, it's crazy that it's March. It doesn't feel like March. We're expecting this huge snowstorm and all of that. So it's hard to believe it's actually kind of getting towards spring, and hopefully the extra hour of sleep that you missed isn't affecting you too poorly. But staying lighter longer, right? That always helps my mood. So, as we start this new unit, we're starting a new topic, and I know this seems really generic that we're talking about teaching writing, but now I'm thinking about the writing craft, just specifically how we're going to deliberately and intentionally, those are two of my favorite words, teach the skill of writing. We've talked a lot about contexts and feedback and authenticity and formative and summative, but how are we going to put all of those pieces together to make writing lessons? And Atwell talks about teaching reading. I know it's kind of ironic that I put that in the writing lesson portion, but I think that the way she talks about it goes hand in glove. And in chapter 6, you're going to see some outstanding examples of mini lessons. You may borrow her ideas as long as you cite her ideas, and she has some great ideas for breaking down learning into chunks and scaffolding and to create those 15 minutes of you talking to students before you send them out to do. In faculty focus, again, this is an article that's really geared towards college professors, but I like it from both of these. I like them because I think they're very applicable to all learning. And the first one is honestly why I went into education and why I've stayed in education as long as I have, is I have a passion about teaching critical thinking and creative thinking and moving beyond students simply having an opinion to getting them to think more deeply about their opinions and to think with multiple perspectives in mind and to think collaboratively about ideas. So that's one part of this week's reading. And another part is looking for flippable moments in your classroom. I've already told you that I'm kind of a blended learning fan, but I think in writing we have to consider blended learning as part of our writing workshops in order to really be the most effective with our time. And so this is talking about flipping your classroom. And there's a lot of controversy in terms of is it really effective and that kind of thing. But I think this article does a nice job of just setting us up to look for opportunities to teach in a different way than we might normally have been taught. This is an explore reading assignment. I don't expect you to read every bit of information on Writing Fix or the NWP website, National Writing Project website, but these are incredible resources, so keep those bookmarked. And then we have a new resource to explore. It's called the K12reader.com. And then we also have some videos we'll talk about momentarily. So these you'll go back to various times throughout the rest of the course, but right now I'm just trying to get you to get just enough of a taste of them that you can start the first two parts of the writing for this week. We're making initial posts in the discussion board and blog. No need to reply or do the wikis yet. We'll save that for week 2. In the discussion board, you're going to create a potential scenario between you and a student or a group of students. In other words, you're going to pretend. Maybe a student plagiarizes, or a student shares a personal story that goes into lots of details, or but it has mechanical errors. Like it's hard to read, but you can tell they poured their soul out. Maybe a student brings you a novel of his to review in all of your spare time and really wants your input. Maybe a student doesn't have work to share at editing time and they just kind of want to sit on their hands, or maybe they're just not doing their writing. What are you going to do about it? In other words, what I want you to do is create a writing classroom issue that you've either been a part of, you've seen happen, or you anticipate happening. And I want you to plan a response. Some of you might think of responses to some of these that might be proactive, how to avoid the situation to begin with. And then, of course, what is going to be our reaction when it happens. Think about in your replies next time, we're going to look for other responses, other ways of handling it. So we're going to get kind of build on this eventually, but for this week, all you're doing is creating your initial, this is what I'm going to do about this. And you can use real situations or you can make up your own. Then the blog is in green because this blog is going to become part of your wiki, your final wiki portfolio. Not this, you don't have to transfer it in this week. This is just when you do your final edit that last week of the course. And this time I want you to take one of your writing assignments that you have in your wiki, and I want you to craft a sample response. Part of teaching writing is giving a lot of examples and samples, but it's hard to have time to do that when you're doing a full writing classroom load. So do it now. Craft a sample of what you think would be a good response to one of yours. You don't have to write age appropriately, but do write at a level that your potential students will not be overwhelmed by. So if they are, elementary students, younger writers, you're going to use more simple vocabulary and more simple sentence structures, but you can write at a mature level. Then what we're going to do with this, this has kind of several steps. So you're going to have your sample writing, and then I want you to create a reflection tool. You're going to be doing that eventually, but I want you to show yourself using that reflection tool after you write. So for example, if you're going to use a letter to yourself reflection tool, then after you write your sample, you're going to write the letter of reflection, and you're going to put both of those into the blog. Next week when we reply, you're going to be the student editor. The teacher has told you to take this student's work and edit it and respond to it, and so you're going to play editor as a student. So basically we're taking on a role of a student this week. We're going to do the things that we thought they would do. If you do this and it's not working for you, you might need to recraft your strategy. You might the prompt may not be working well, or the reflection tool that you're thinking about may not be the best reflection tool. And so basically we're taking the things that we thought we were going to have students use, and we're going to actually be the student here in the blog this week. That's the week, and let me go quickly into the classroom. And let's look at what there is to watch. If there is anything, I'm pretty sure I have something in this, and I'll kind of give you an intro to it. Okay, this is where I finally, those of you who are younger elementary teachers, and I've had all of these guest speakers who are high school and junior high age, this is for you. But don't shut it down. If you're a high school or junior high service teacher or pre-service teacher, let's look at this guest lecture and see what we can learn from an elementary teacher. And there is some stuff going on in this section that isn't all in your reading, and I want to kind of walk through that for a second too. So guest lecture 1, 2, and 3 is a teacher using a first grade teacher teaching out to her teaching writing workshop with her first graders, or doing reading workshop. I'm not sure if it's a combination. You can watch and see. Then she also, this is actually one of my kids' teachers, in fact he's in this video, she also made a resource list for teaching writing to younger children. And those of you who maybe feel like some of these resources are over your kids' heads, this is her go-to resource list, and I think you'll find it interesting. Right here are some samples of presentations for you to look at. Let's just open this for a second. It's loading. And these are things, this would be a sample of where we're headed and when we think about building materials for writing workshops. This is a sample of a reading workshop I did with some students. So I want to show you just, we're going to be getting into this in the wiki in week 2, but that's a resource for you. Another resource for writing like a reader and how those two things connect. There are some YouTube and SchoolTube resources, some video resources. A lot of these are for as we work into the wiki for next time. But just wanted to let you know that these resources are all here kind of as a library for you this time to start dabbling in, if you want to refine things and start looking ahead. You are fast completing this course. I hope you're feeling like you have more ideas for energizing real writing in your classroom and engaged writing, and for coaching writing, because that's really what we're about, is coaching students to be better writers. We only have 2 units left after this, and in fact, the last unit, there's no new readings. It's just finishing up our wiki mostly. So have a great week. And if you have any questions, keep them coming. Remember, we're doing initial posts and doing readings this week. Have a good week.